The guard dog that started barking, literally hanging off a seal from the trailer, acting like it was a giant chew toy, going crazy. And we're standing there on the side of the road, people flying past, coming past out of the border inspection station, and they got, M16s on us. Hi, I'm Joe with Larger Than Life Adventures, and you're watching the Trailhead Show.
Let it up, let it roar, feel the ground shake. Pedal down, dust flying, no time to waste. The trailhead's calling, engine power on a roll. This is where trails start and stories unfold. On the starlit skies, where the wild things roam. Every trail a journey, every Jeep a home. Meet me at the trailhead, where the wild ones run. The dust kicks high and the day's not done. With the road wide open and the dirt in our soul. This is where trails start and our stories unfold.
Welcome back to the Trailhead, everybody. I'm JD, and in this episode today, we are sitting down with Joe Belk, the founder of Larger Than Life Adventures, a content creator, volunteer recovery lead, and an off-roader who's made it his mission to uplift the community one trail at a time. How you doing, Joe?
Good. How about yourself?
Nice. Well, welcome to the show. I'm doing all right, man. I'm having trouble getting it together today, but it's really not different than any other day. So I'm kind of, it's just where I think I exist now. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, welcome, man. You are, I can't, unfortunately, I hate to tell you, I don't know what episode order this is going to air in. If I ever get a list of actual, like, where people fell on the stuff from Rich, I might try to air it in that order. I've also thought about airing it just order of recorded it, which would make you 7th, I believe. So, but there'll be, don't worry. There's plenty of room for everybody here in this one. It's going to be a whole bunch of videos at one time. I'm going to have so much between the time of recording this, which is June-ish, there's a lot of still television production that is going on behind the scenes. And we know when about the show is going to air, but it's going to be a matter of, what we get for content all the way around and what kind of dates they can actually put on the calendar. So when we get there, man, I'm excited because it's going to be a ton of content, but luckily to be all
absolutely
ready to go. Yeah. Well, I tell myself that now, but I know that's also a lie. Well, Joe, we'll get into the Trail Hero Expedition stuff in a minute. I know it's a large part of why you're here for the episode, obviously. That's where we met you at. But I wanted to kind of talk more about you first and just Larger Than Life and the team that you guys went out there and did the event. Unfortunately, your partner couldn't join you tonight, so it's just going to be us for this conversation. But it is one of those things where before we get into all that, I want to kind of know how you got into it, which is just off-roading and being out and kind of doing that stuff. Because and we'll talk about your build in just a second, but your build is not what I expected when I came out to Trail Hero Expedition. So.
Nobody does. Gotta be different.
All right. Well, how did you get into to kind of off-roading in the first place?
Off-roading, I've always been a gearhead way back when. Actually, you'd be considered, I started getting into custom cars before I could even drive. But take it as weird, I was kind of the opposite thing. I started out in lowriders and mini trucks way back in like the early 90s. Lowriders, mini trucks, was my beginning scene. Wild graphics, slammed to the ground, taking road dots off the road. Oh yeah. And then just kind of slowly progressed, got out of it a little bit, started hanging around with some different people, and a group of my friends, they were really into off-roading, and so I kind of started going that way. And my first four-wheel drive was a Chevy S10 Blazer that was unstoppable. I could take that little sucker anywhere, and just kind of gone for there. So it'd been probably 30 plus years I've been off-roading.
Okay, that's no it's a small time frame to be doing all that in. So where are you at now?
Taylorsville, Utah.
Like physically? Taylorsville, Utah? Okay. And where are you, And where are you from?
Oregon, I originally was born and raised in Oregon, lived in, uh, the Seattle area for a while. That's where I was when I kinda got into four-wheeling, bunch of friends up there. We spent a lot of time, just a small group of us kinda just formed our own little club, and we just go out wheeling every weekend or go over one of our biggest things was going over to the Washington coast, which a lot of the beaches there are state highways, and you can go out and drive on. And we'd spend our weekends out camping and pulling tourists out of the sand and rescuing them. They're not always the smartest people, so we used to have fun doing that.
I think that most everybody that runs or works with any kind of a recovery group locally would tell you that the well, I don't know. I take that back. I should ask the Colorado 4x4 folks whether or not they think the majority they get are locals or tourists or transplants.
After being actually running the Utah Offroad Recovery Team, the guys in Colorado, they are like the gold star. They're the upper echelon of any recovery team in the country. They are what I always tried to emulate ours after, and those guys I have the deepest respect for.
Oh, the Colorado 4x4 rescue and recovery
Yeah.
guys?
Yeah, those guys are I'm
Yeah.
actually friends with a couple of them, and those guys are top notch. The organization, their connection to the community, and the law enforcement, and just how organized they are, it blows my mind.
Well, fun story for you then. I when I moved to Colorado, I kind of got involved with them before they were kind of official, like before they started, like you had to actually know some stuff. Like you have to, there's some dollars you have to spend to be a member of that now, to be part of a volunteer group, and in terms of training and stuff like that. Like these guys know what they're doing, and it's a free service. So
Yeah.
it's a great plug too, because there's a you go back and listen to our episode with Colorado 4x4 Rescue and Recovery.
Oh,
They're really great people, and it's nice to hear that, because I've run into situations like that too, in other states. I ran into what Snore, which is down in southern Nevada.
oh,
They
yeah,
helped me
yeah.
out once before, so
Mhm.
everybody's kind of it's one of those things where it's nice to see that Colorado 4x4 is kind of setting that bar, and that everybody else is like, yeah, we want to get there too. So nice, man. So you're slamming trucks in Oregon? That's where you're deciding that's where you're gonna do that?
Oregon, Washington area, shortly after I graduated, I was into it during high school. Shortly after high school, I moved to Seattle, and that's where I, was there for quite a, like 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, okay, I'm trying to understand, like, because don't get me wrong here, because I at one time in my life, I wanted to also have a low riding truck, but I lived in Chicago, and part of it came down to practicality. I'm like, "It's too snowy here. There's too like, the weather just sucks too hard." Like, so you just decided you're like, "Yes, I'm just gonna try to do low riders in the one of the rainiest states in the country."
Yeah, it's mostly summer stuff. It was just something I got into in high school, and that was the cool at the time was the cool thing to do, and I still have it in my heart. I'm still a low rider at heart, so
Uh
if I could get the perfect ride, I'd build another one in a heartbeat.
Well, because that was like the golden age of like those magazines too, right? Like
Oh, yeah,
all the
yeah,
low riding truck magazines and stuff. Oh yeah,
yeah,
kids,
yeah.
you'll ever know. Magazines are these paper diaries, if you will, that we used to have with pictures and words in them. Ask your parents, kids. All right. So, and did we mention that the name of the recovery group in Utah that you work with or for? What's that?
The founder and, team leader up until a couple of years ago, I stepped away, but of the Utah Offroad Recovery Team. They're still one of the premier. I built it up from I've had, guys on my team locally, and we built it up to being probably one of the most respected recovery teams in the country, and they're still going strong after I stepped down. It just got to be like a second job almost because I was very into it, and,
Yeah.
I ran everything, organized the stuff, but if I had guys out on a recovery and they were out at 4 in the morning before they got home, I was up at 4 in the morning. They're giving their dedication to be out there, risking their lives, their rigs, their time, and I thought they deserve as much respect for me to be, making sure that they got home safe and everybody was, safe and sound when they got home.
Yeah. I could see that, man. If it's a small group and it's one that you started, then that's like 100%. Like, I think that what a lot of us in the community would say is that when you start to kind of get more involved and you help either with a volunteer group or any kind of anything within the community, quite honestly. I was helping out with Colorado Rescue 4x4 and recovery, and it got to a point where, and it wasn't about money, it was about time. Like I don't have the time to dedicate to this and do all the other stuff I'm doing in the community and sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is highly underrated, folks. Sleep is just the bee's knees. Try it sometimes.
Yeah, I was a truck driver for 20 years, and our motto is I'll sleep when I die.
Good Lord, no. Yeah. Did I see how I just read something in your information? 2.5 million miles or something of accident-free stuff.
Well, probably closer to 3, but, with everything I've done, because 'cause I've been pretty much in the transportation industry all my life. As soon as I started working, even the parts driver, delivery driver, dispatch, every facet, but, yeah, I drove from 2001 to just 2021, 2.5 million accident-free miles.
Nice. I feel like you probably got out at a good time for that.
Yeah, oh, yeah, that
Yeah.
don't even get me started on that. Yeah, it's a different industry now than it was when I.
Boy, all right. So over the years you've been doing off-roading for 30 years. How long did you do the Utah recovery group before you kind of stepped away from
I
it?
think we saw it in 2016, and I stepped down in 2000 early 2021, I believe it was. So, about 5 years in there running things.
Okay, that's not a bad run. That's about good for burnout too, man. I'll tell you from
Oh,
just
yeah, like I said,
experience.
it was like a second job. My wife was getting upset with me because 'cause I'd be, dedicating so much time to this, and, when I go into something, I go in it with jump in with both feet and make it happen.
Yeah. I think it's part of the reason why Colorado 4x4 introduced the idea of term limits for their presidents of their board members in order to kind of make because otherwise some guys will just keep going. Some folks will just keep going, right? Like
Oh, yeah.
I kind of have the mentality I'll keep going till I drop and until I resent everybody around me. All right, and then so you doing all this, and then did you decide to start kind of the larger than life adventures, kind of YouTube and brand stuff before or after you decided to do the Trail Hero Expedition stuff?
I started the larger in life actually, and just on a whim back in November of last year, just kind of give myself something to
Okay.
do, give myself to focus on. I've always been a very goal oriented. I got to have something to do. I can't just sit and be relaxed. I guess I always got to have a
Yeah.
project. I always got to have something going on. Otherwise, I go crazy. So I decided to start the channel just as a secondary thing and see how it'd fly.
Okay. I think the vast majority of us that do these kinds of things would tell you that many of us got to the point where we're like, I need something to do. I got all these pictures. I do all this stuff. I should put it someplace and see if people care.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice. All right.
It's been something different. It's totally out of my ballpark to do stuff like that, and just, the whole trying to learn editing and filming and, different products and getting everything. It's been a learning curve, definitely.
Yeah, you're fresh, man. I'm gonna tell you right now, you're fresh. And my advice to you, my unsolicited advice to you, would be to give yourself time to learn stuff and to not worry so much about the perfection piece of things. Because on a regular basis, I will sit on to this day, and I've been doing this show. I've been mapping trails for 10 plus years, editing videos, all that time for that stuff.
Mhm.
And then even and now for the show for at least almost 2 years now, I I still sit on stuff too long trying to get it perfect and like trying to get it just right. It's just like just publish it. Just get it done, get it out. People don't care whether or not, you screwed up that spacing by 10, 10 pixels or whatever else it is. Just put it out there.
Yeah.
And you'll be light years and better off a couple years from now than you think you'll be. So, and you got to stick with it. That's the only other piece of it, because it's gonna suck for a while. And I need to ask about this because this was in, and I appreciate your answer in the kind of the onboard thing for guests saying, When when I asked why are you coming on the show, because JD asked. I really appreciate that. That's perfect. But on your other one, on your other bio thing that I had seen, I there was a story that you got held at gunpoint by border patrol agents.
Yeah, I was driving for, I'd been driving for about a year and a half, and I got stuck down in Laredo, Texas, waiting for a load of broccoli out of Mexico. And it finally came in, and so we jumped on it, just had to go out of Laredo up to Dallas Fort Worth area. And we went through just out north of Laredo is a very large border patrol station where, they check IDs and give you that stuff. I just kind of rolled on through, and as usual, rarely get stopped. And he just waved me on through, and like one of their drug sniffing dogs just went berserk, and I barely got through, and he yelled at me to pull over, and I pulled over, and they come up, I get surrounded with guys with M16s, and they got me out of the truck and barraged me and my wife with questions and whatnot, and uh, they asked me what I was hauling, give them paperwork, go to the back, and they escort us to the back of the trailer, and there is one of the guard dog that started barking, literally hanging off a seal from the trailer, acting like it was a giant chew toy, going
Oh
crazy, and
my
we're standing
god.
there on the side of the road, people flying past, coming past out of the border inspection station, and they got, M16s on us, and they break the seal, and the dog and the
Oof.
handler jump up in there, and they go through the whole load, don't find a single thing. And
Wow.
when they got done, they had to break the seal because, agricultural load. They had to give me paperwork on it and why they did it, da, 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 and I turned to the border patrol agent, I'm like, "What the hell?" He goes, "Oh, yeah, most likely your load was grown next to a pot field." And I was like, "Okay." Just,
All
you know?
right.
Yeah.
Man, that maybe that would explain why I like broccoli so much.
I just probably got, somebody handled something or was grown next to your broccoli was grown next to a pot field. I'm like,
Oh my
"Okay, I didn't know that was a thing, but okay."
I've lived next to some people before, and that can get rather odorous rather fast. So I guess I can kind of get like you get a large field of it. Like I can only imagine some of those folks that live out in California. That's why that stuff's out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
All right. Well, all right. So doing driving like that for that long, doing what almost 3 million miles of that, getting held at border patrol agents with M16s.
Mhm.
Let's see, recoveries for 5 years, and sleepless nights, just, because we can't say no to that kind of stuff. And then you decide you're going to just enter yourself into a competition of sorts then. And let's talk about real fast before man, I almost cruised right by it. No pun intended. Let's talk about your vehicle, sir. What is it you are driving? And then we'll talk about your decision process in bringing it to the Western states.
Well, it is a very large 1991 Chevy Suburban 1500. It's called nicknamed the Beast. Everybody knows it pretty much in the Utah, off-road community pretty much knows the Beast. And I've just slowly built. I've had it for coming up on 8 years now, and just slowly been building it. One thing that's original from when I had it is the lift. There's nothing else on it that was like it when I bought it, and it's been 8 years of passion and several years of, hey, I'm going to sell this piece of shit, and and I always go out and just drive it, and I go, what the hell was I thinking? you know
I think we all have stories about abusive relationships that we have with vehicles
Yes.
and things that we can't get rid of and say no to. Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Yeah,
Ugh. How long have you had that? I'm sorry if I missed that.
coming up on 8 years.
8 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a commitment, man. That's a
Yeah.
commitment to a beast like that in
that
Utah.
yeah, that's the long it's a like I said, I'm a car guy. I've had more vehicles than I can probably count, and it's probably the longest vehicle I've ever owned.
Have you been like stopped yet by the guys from Matt's Offroad Recovery? Like I feel like you guys are running similar size builds at
uh,
least.
we won't talk about Matt.
Oh, ooh, I like this
Yeah,
tension.
that's a side issue from my recovery days. So
Fair enough. All right, I'll give up. Okay, that's fair. All right, so you have this giant vehicle. Which you admittedly already wheel in Utah, and you know it can kind of handle dirt and sand and the
Oh,
rest of that. Uh,
I've taken it off, all over the place, and it's never let me down a single time. Never broke down. It's tackled everything I've thrown at it. So I love that
okay,
truck to death.
all right. Well, then I guess it makes more sense to me now why, because like you rolled up at the Trailhead Expeditions. I'm like, that is the I think it I think it's the biggest vehicle there. Like even the
Oh
Gladiators, they look bigger because of some of the stuff they got like bolted on them, but just the size and lift and
yeah,
tires.
yeah.
Ugh. All right. So you decide to take your hunk of junk with how many miles on it? Do you know?
It's really close to 200,000 right now.
Oh, okay. That's not bad. Not bad
Yeah, it's
for a
not too bad.
90s vehicle.
It's well for the I've
Okay.
had it's on its third engine and second transmission.
Ah, there it is, folks. Okay. Yeah. All right. So and you're not resetting that mileage, right?
No, no, no,
You're
no,
we're totally not recording this. Yeah, okay.
no.
All right, so why did you how did you hear about Trailhead Expeditions, and then how did you decide that you were like, yeah, that sounds like something to be like a good idea?
I just happened to see something on Trail Heroes website about it, and I've known Rich for a couple of years when he was back doing the Super Crawl series, and I was one of his did one of his judges a couple times, so we know each other from back in the day. So and I just thought, if he's got involved and it's a good idea, what the hell, put myself out there and just, give it a shot. And I've applied for a couple other ones like that. Like the Four Wheel Magazine has the ultimate off-road or overland adventure thing they do for their magazine. And I applied for it. I
Mm.
made it, kind of far in, but never made it. And I was like, hey, what the hell? Give it a shot. I know that I stand out in a crowd for definitely, I'm different than just about anybody out there. So I thought I'd bring something else to the table versus, all these Jeep guys. So
100%, dude. Regular listeners to this show will tell you that I love weird builds. Usually I'm a two-door Jeep guy, right? So my favorite are the smaller builds. I love the Suzuki Samurai's and crap like that. A, because I can't fit in them. So like they're unobtainium to me. Like I can't actually drive them. Um, but I love weird builds. And I love builds that are outside of the box. Trucks. I like Suburbans. Anything that's kind of just not what you see every day when you go out there. It- there's two reasons for that. Like, yeah, if you're driving a Jeep and you bust a U joint, there's a good chance you'll find somebody on the trail that can help you with a U joint that'll fit. Probably can get all the parts you need without too much fanfare. And yeah, if you're driving a 91 Suburban, maybe don't have that kind of luxury. But in the same breath, you're standing out from everybody else on the mountain.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That's the way I've always been. Is always to have something different. I got to be standing out a little bit different. Uh, like everybody always says, the top custom cars are like the Tri Five Chevys. Well, I own a '57 Ford Fairlane just to be different.
But that's like a classic still. That's still not bad. All right. Well done, sir. Okay. All right. So you grab a partner, you roll out to Mesquite. And then we'll talk about the adventure piece of it first and kind of just going from place to place.
hmm
Have you done a lot of overlanding and stuff like that too? Like, cause obviously you're pretty familiar with off-roading in general, but do you do a lot of camping and stuff like that?
Yeah, I've always been, camping. It's been, like driving truck was made it kind of hard because we were always out on the road, and I've always been on the go. So that's kind of another, you know, part of that is, getting out and just exploring and seeing new stuff. I get that itch that I just can't sit in one place for too long, for too long. So that's one of the reasons I kind of got into overlanding is and just meet new people and see new places that, your average person can't go, won't go see. That's what's really drawn me to it.
All right. Outside of obviously the stuff that we'll talk about with Trailhead X, is there any place that has kind of stuck out to you over the years that you've been to?
Nothing specific, specific. I said I've saw a lot of stuff and a lot of places I'd like to go back. I got, my dream list of places to go, but, done a lot of stuff right around here in the local, Utah area. I'd like to hopefully, hopefully get out and try some other, other places, but, stuff like that costs money and planning and
That's also a valid statement. Yeah, We'll talk about that towards the end. It makes for a great question later. So going from camp to camp, were you guys doing a lot of like cooking for yourselves, or did you do a lot of food, like food prep and stuff like that ahead of
Uh,
time, or what was your kind of camp mentality? Is it get in and out?
that we had the best laid plans. We went and bought all kinds of food and different stuff and had the plans, but, put it this way with production and getting everything set up and being by the end of the day, you were so tired. All the food that we bought to prepare, we didn't get to cook a single thing. We were just by the end of the day, we were so tired, and then we have, the production
Yeah.
things that have to jump hoops through, and by getting everything, it'd be like dark out before we could even get things, and we're just like, we'd grab something out of the cooler and say, "Yeah, this is good," you know?
Yeah, this is good. It's thawed enough that I can eat it without cooking, without too much heating. Tell me you at least heated up your dinners. Okay, good deal.
There wasn't well, pretty much it was stuff like that. It was like throw together, a turkey sandwich or something like that, so
Oh, okay. That's fair. Cold, that's fair. That's whole 100%. Uh I think I only had one meal that I managed to cook myself on that trip, and it was literally just one night, and I was trying to whip together something just because I felt like I needed to eat, and everybody else had finished already.
yeah.
So, what was your? Let's talk about this because it's come up a few times. Not in a bad way or anything. People aren't talking too much smack. And then if you listen back to everybody's episodes later and you think that you disagree with that, you're welcome to come back on the show and tell everybody. But um, uh, you guys had an issue like up on that. Was it the first day? Was it with the on that sand hill?
Oh, the first day on the sandhill, yeah. As
Oh
I
yeah, the sand
Oh,
hill, the
yeah.
first
I've
day.
got
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I can't wait till we get the video on all that, but, yeah, we had 2 different routes, and I had just I mean, like, "I'm gonna show these Jeep boys what this bad boy can do," and we tried both routes, and, yeah, it didn't happen. It got about halfway up the second one, we did it, like, 3, 4 times, and we dig such giant roots in the ground, we literally buried it to the frame rails, and then they
Oh,
tried the The guy who was there to try to help us get up, he couldn't do it, and then we ended up hooking 2 other rigs to him to try to pull me up, and it didn't happen. We just could not budge. We ended up having to reroute and go up a different ridge to come back around to the top.
oh, really? So, like,
Yeah,
and so my question for you then is, did they try to back you down at all and then bring you back up, or did they just try to dead pull you up from where you were at?
like 3 or 4 times. But we'd get about
Oh,
halfway,
okay.
3/4 the way up. I mean, we were trying every option, going farther out, trying different routes, going slow, going fast, and none of them worked. It was probably, it was so sandy and I'm so heavy, and then just, all the horsepower just it didn't help me out, just dug in like crazy.
Well, how far you aired down?
I think we were like 20 I think we were like at 20 PSI, something like that. Nothing too major because I know we were going to be on a lot of just regular like BLM roads and stuff like that. So we didn't go down too far. I
Yeah.
don't, it wouldn't have made a difference with how soft that sand was and weight
Oh,
and everything.
do you normally like run lower if you're like on a like Sand Mountain or something?
Yeah, a little bit probably
Just
would have
because you
been
have such
down,
a big vehicle, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
But, yeah, I don't think it would have made a single difference. Yeah, I know how that one goes. Everybody goes, "Well, did you air down?" I'm like, yeah, it wouldn't have made a difference, even for how far I was down."
Here we go, and I'm gonna bring this up so because obviously you all like bringing it up on these episodes, so I'm gonna beat you to it. As being the only person that got, excuse me, the only other person that got stuck in the sand on this trip of any kind, I firmly believe it's because I didn't have it aired down low enough. I had some brand new KO3s, and I had them down about 20, and I'm just like, if I'd been down like a 12 where I could actually run them, I probably would have been fine. I would have been low. I was just sitting too high, especially on brand new tires.
Well, yeah, and I was on brand new tires too. I just don't think, just under the circumstance, if I'd been on, flat ground and got stuck in deep sand, it probably would have been different. But the angle that it was a pretty good size hill, and with the
What's
sand
up,
and
Joe?
all.
Shots fired, dude. Like flat ground. Hey. I get no respect on this show. None. None. All right, so camp was just kind of a blur then for you guys, just kind of getting in and out, doing the interview pieces, and
We tried, just the cooking part was the only part, we'd rush to get everything up and set up and just, it was more I found out to be the whole thing was more about the experience and getting to know everybody and just hanging out and, you know, as I said before, I've said a couple times people is that it was more about the experience, getting to know, nobody knew a single person, some of us had kind of done deep dives in people's profiles and stuff like that and started following each other on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and stuff like that.
yeah,
Yeah, kinda look into stuff but, none of us really knew each other, and then by the end, a week later, we're all friends, we all talk on a hell, I talked to some of the people on the from the show since we got off there than I do some of my other friends now, so just got just that connection, it's been really cool.
I it's kind of funny, and I'm speaking more kind of as an more of an observer because I was not there as a competitor, but I hear I watch probably more reality TV than I should.
Mm,
But there's a lot of moments in those shows where people will talk in reunion type shows, especially like people don't understand when you say that we have that connection about we were on the show, we did this thing together, and we did this production of whatever kind that is. I never really understood that. Like, I mean, I did. I'm like, I get it. A unique experience is unique experience. I can kind of understand it to some degree. Having done this now, though, like it is a very unique experience. Like you guys filmed what 6 days essentially. You filmed a reality show. Like
yeah.
that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. Like that's most reality shows and stuff these days. They take weeks and months, and we filmed it. They filmed it in days, and it was impressive to watch that happen. And even as jumbled and sometimes discombobulated as it was sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, and I know everybody was brand new to a lot of people and, production-wise in the first time around, but, you just had to be patient with everything and everybody, know the great thing is out of everybody, sometimes you get people with attitudes and get upset about stuff. Everybody was just so nice and so welcoming and, trying to get to know each other. We didn't have, one of those people or a group of people that, everybody just talked to everybody, and that was what was so cool about it,
Yeah.
you get every once in a while, you get those people that and you see stuff like that that are antagonists or get easily pissed off at the slightest thing, and nobody like that was there. It's just everybody there to have a good
Yeah.
time and enjoy themselves.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like, obviously there's a bit of casting that goes on, right? You guys were part of a casting call and everybody kind of got
Yeah,
whittled down to from group to group to group.
yeah.
I think that no matter what Rich would have done, I think Rich would have had a hard time casting like a villain type, right? Like every reality show is supposed to have a villain and it's supposed to have somebody that everybody doesn't like. And if he had even been trying to find one, I think he would have had a hard time finding one. And that's just for the community itself. All right. So, were there any pieces then of the kind of the adventure portion, the place to place, the overland piece that you either A really enjoyed or and then B really hated? I'd love to know about that too. And then, but because I'm sure there's stuff that there's hours and hours of tape, right? Like, so there's got to be some moments and stuff that happened in between there that you may or may not think ever going to hit air.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, we out of probably everybody, we probably had the most carnage out of everything, I mean, broken
Like,
parts
oh,
of the
in going
system.
from place to place. Yeah,
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 yeah.
we I mean, first day was okay, second day we had to at camp, we had to, repack our front hubs, which was fun, they were getting, really super hot, we did that, and that took, took most of the evening, let me see, 4th day, we were doing a really nasty hill climb in between Grand Canyon and, Sand Hollow, and it broke 2 of the mounts on my roof rack, and so it started, bouncing around and sliding off, so we had to ratchet strap it down to get into
Oh,
camp, and then 20 minutes into the last day, heading from Sand Hollow to Mesquite, about 20 minutes into the day, it broke the other 2, and it was coming off. It was hanging about 3, 4 feet off the back, and we had to get it back on as far as we could and ratchet strap the whole thing down.
oh boy. Did you bring enough ratchet straps?
Oh yeah, we had enough. Otherwise we
Okay.
probably wouldn't have made it. And then I discovered after the fact when I got home that I'd actually there's a housing that goes in between the transfer case and the tail housing where your drive shaft comes out. I'd pretty much broken it. I was having it was started leaking, so I took it to my my drivetrain specialist, and he took it off, and two of the lobes that mounts it to the transfer case literally just fell off. So I literally
Oh.
it literally just got finally fixed today. Unfortunately, the 90 and 91 Suburbans and Blazers, the transfer case is only made for 2 years. It's a
Oh,
special right
really?
hand drop, and because it has the electronic uh, speedometer, and it took over 2 weeks. I got it in there, and we started having to look for it. It took over 2 weeks, and literally thousands of people across the country and Canada to finally, if on a suburban page that I'm on, I just posted up, hey, I'm looking for this, and the guy goes, oh yeah, I have one as an extra.
Well, you can't break any more of those then,
I
because
know
at this point,
they are super rare. I mean, literally, people. Oh, you think I got one? And then as I started calling the Bigfoot of transfer cases, because people would claim to see it that they may had one, and then it turned out to be a guy in an asshole in the gorilla suit.
oh yeah, that's a lot of Facebook if you're being honest about it.
you know. But literally, we called my guy. We searched everywhere. We had literally hundreds and hundreds of people in both here in Canada looking for that transfer case, and we only found one.
So, have you made contingency plans? Should and
Well,
knock
I'm not
on
worried
wood.
about the transfer case so much, but it's not that big, and hopefully I won't break
Don't
a
say
transfer
that.
case.
Yeah,
Well,
don't say
well,
that. Because then by the time this airs, I'm gonna have to put a disclaimer under the bottom. Joe broke his other transfer case 3 weeks later. Like I can't do that way. Yeah, I don't want to do that.
and I should have been smarter because I actually hooked up. There was on that same Suburban page that I'm on. There was a guy that just destroyed his same one, and I hooked him up with the guy that I bought the housing from, with to buy the transfer case. So
Oh,
now the transfer case is gone.
yeah.
So I can't even buy that now.
Yep. If at this point, if I were you, I would just be anywhere I traveled, I'd stop at whatever local like junkyard I passed through, just see if I can find a Suburban sitting on the lot. All you gotta do is run around. All you gotta do is drive around. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll be out there somewhere, but
Oh, good lord. So yeah, so you guys, I think you guys win for breaking the most amount of stuff. Not the most amount of tires, that goes to Keenan. But just the most amount of stuff in general. Like you guys still repacking gears on the side of the trail. That's no small task either. Like it's not easy. It was hot. It was a little cooler the second night, but it was still windy.
yeah.
So those gears couldn't have been packed that great.
Yeah, we did. It was good. It was good. It was good enough. We got it done.
Okay.
So
I was talking like in terms of contaminants. Like if you're worried about getting
well,
like sand and stuff in there, you definitely had sand and grease.
oh yeah, I mean, we did it right there. I was at the Zion one with nothing but sand around us. So at least it
Yep.
wasn't Sand Hollow. So
Oh, yeah, in fact, right here I have so this right here, Joe, this is all of the sand. This is what came out of that little trailer I was just what I could sweep out. I couldn't not stuff I vacuumed. This is just the stuff I was able to sweep out and put into a bin. And I'm just like, yeah, sand hollow. It stays with you. It's
oh yeah,
it's it's the herpes of off the off-road world. It stays with you.
yeah. I haven't even had a chance.
Uh
I partially cleaned out the back part of mine, and then I went to the shop for this leaking issue. So I haven't even got a chance to clean it. I'm actually thinking about sending it to one of my sponsors, who's a detailer, and have him do the work.
I keep trying to get my father-in-law to do it. Like I'm like, come on, dude. Like, just I know you want to clean the Jeep out, like, because the trailer I had to clean that. That didn't belong to me. Like, I got to give it back to the. Like, I felt bad. It's a different discussion. But don't rent stuff to me. If you're listening to this show, don't rent me stuff. Don't cars, trailers. Just don't rent stuff to me. That's my disclaimer. I've made it publicly. I've stated it publicly, right, Joe? You heard me.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay. All right. Did you guys get lost at all, or did you guys pretty much were you
uh,
beginners, intermediate, expert?
we did intermediate. and we did
Okay.
pretty good, but I would say probably on an average. I never really got lost, but we'd be cruising along, and my co-driver Bill would be like, "Oh, we were supposed to turn back there," and I'm like, "Well, you need to tell me this stuff," and we'd turn back around. We didn't ever got lost. I think we made one wrong turn one time and went on to we went through a onto a ranch for a little bit, and then he goes, "Hey, we're off track." I'm like, "Well, okay, we'll just turn around. Nothing major." So I think that happened, but missing a turn probably happened 3 or 4 times a day. Nothing major, but we just turn around and go back.
Yeah, that kind of depends on how fast you're going. Like if you've managed, did you guys do any kind of like plotting on the maps ahead of time, or you just kind of putting dots on the map, place, place, place?
No, we had, the general one from the tracking system that they gave us, general, and then had the paper terms. So it wasn't that bad, but the great thing is if we got off track, then, our dot wasn't on on the map, and we just turn around and go back. There's nothing too bad.
Okay. See, like if I were you guys, like there's like I got lost. Talked about this on another show, so y'all can go back and listen to it elsewhere. But I got lost for a little while, right? Like, and
Mhm.
my thing was like, I'll keep going in this direction. Like, I look at a map, I can kind of see where I'm supposed to be. So I'll just keep going here until I feel like I'm not comfortable going here. Like with a rig like yours, I would have kept going for a while before I turned around. But kudos to you, sir.
Yeah, that was good that we didn't get lost on any of the on the tight stuff. That was a lucky thing because I don't know where in the hell we would have turned out on some of that stuff.
I've been writing for Trails Off Road for nearly 10 years now, and what drew me in wasn't just the chance to map trails, it was their absolute commitment to building detailed, consistent, and responsible guides that truly help people explore with confidence. That mission still matters, and that's why I believe in Trails Off Road, not just because I'm a writer and they're a sponsor, but because I've seen firsthand how useful this tool can be when you're deep in the backcountry and plans are changing by the hour. Planning a full week of the trailhead following along with Trail Hero Expeditions meant juggling long days, minimal cell phone service, and evolving plans. Trails Off Road kept the plan simple for me, though. Clear difficulty ratings and waypoints for obstacles and even some camping information made the journey that much easier. Public land overlays made it easy to stay legal and tread lightly when roving camp to camp, and it all worked offline, so the guide on the map kept working even when the cell bars faded. New features even allow you to record your tracks, add your own waypoints, and put the guide on a compatible Android Auto Dash. If you want one tool to plan your adventure smarter, this is it. So for the best damn trail guides, get your free trial of Trails Off Road All Access in the app or at trailsoffroad.com.
That was a lucky thing because I don't know where in the hell we would have turned out on some of that stuff.
That I could see being a problem. Like you're twice as long as I am, dude. Like that's yeah. Ugh. Okay. I mean, that's not bad though. So you think you like the kind of the camp to camp piece of it and that like the camping piece of it as opposed to the competition piece of it? Or what was your
Uh,
take on that bit of it?
I enjoyed all of it, because it was just it was something different, but I
Right.
did talk to, Rich and, Brandy about, maybe making, if they for future ones is making the points between the camps a little bit closer, make it maybe a little more involved because, for overlanding, it's all about, seeing stuff along the way and getting out and enjoying it. And I felt that we were kind of, and I know production kind of screwed things up a little bit by getting us out late sometimes, and that's, nature of the beast. But, you know, and I'd heard that other people had said the exact same thing to kind of shrink things down a little bit, just have more
I
time.
think the general thing, yeah, I think the general thing for most people is like, you know what? Instead of maybe 100 miles, maybe make it 75 so that we get a
Yeah.
little bit more time just to kind of, get kind of those production pieces done and that piece of thing. Okay, I mean that's not bad. That's not terrible feedback, and that's pretty good.
No.
Did you enjoy the competition piece at all? Where'd you guys fall on the
Yes.
list? You know?
I have no idea. I don't think we're very high to the top because we sat out the first day challenge because when they called that one, or no, the second one we did on the morning of the second day, we just everybody's like sat out and I went, no, that's not going to happen. By the time we would have got up to get the tire change, it was up on the roof rack. Have to get the ladder out to get it off, unstrap it, and then we would have been so far behind and have to take it off and redo it. Oh, no, I was like, I walked up and I looked at Bill and I went, no.
I mean, I can't blame you. Again, as an observer, like I'm standing in the sun and it's 8 o'clock in the morning and it was already 80 degrees and it's baking and they had you guys run across the field and I'm just like, nope, I don't think so. Don't get me wrong. And there were multiple times where I said during the competition, actually, if I'm being 100% honest with you, there were a few times during pre-production meetings that I was just like, I'm really glad that I'm just coming along for this. And like, we're here to report on it. And we're kind of just here to show people kind of behind the scenes what's going
Yeah.
on. Cause every time, like one of the challenges, the valve stem challenge, the one, or not the valves, the tire challenge, essentially the inflation challenge. Rich had such glee in his face about his original plan to like go through and break valve stems and stuff and like go through the middle of the night. Like I'm just like, oh my God, I'm so glad I'm not a competitor in this. Like this is all right. Was there any of the competitions that you guys did that you feel like you did really well in, or that
Uh,
you think was it's like a good idea in general?
I liked most of them. You know, they were all fun, all had their own challenges and fun and whatnot. You know, I like the team ones where we got teamed up with the other teams and stuff like that was a lot of fun, you know, being able to work together and, you know, I thought those were my favorite those were probably my favorite ones.
Okay. No, that's perfect, dude. Like, I think that's a really good example of kind of one of the things that isn't talked about enough on either. And I think we've talked about a lot in this show, but we don't talk about a lot in the off-road community in general outside of just kind of, especially when you introduce people to the sport. Like, there's a bit of that don't leave other people behind on the trail, right? And you get that from doing the recovery stuff and from kind of being a leader for that for as long as you were. And I think that Rich introducing that as part of the competition, like you guys got to work together. Like, yeah, these may be silly camp games. They might be a silly puzzle that you all hate. But it's, it means it speaks to a larger thing about how you work together with people that you don't necessarily know, or maybe you just met a couple days ago and this
Yeah.
is your first time out on a trail in a stressful situation.
Yeah, yeah. And I think everybody, you know, nobody got like you said, nobody got upset with anybody else or got frustrated, even though some of the stuff was frustrating and especially like the puzzles and stuff like that. But nobody got upset with anybody else and started yelling or something like that. Everybody stuck together and backed everybody and encouraged everybody.
Yeah. I think the only people about that they were upset with about the puzzle was Randall, who had designed the puzzle. I think that was the only.
That's a
That's right.
good
That's right,
possibility. Yeah.
Randall. I called you out. Yeah, I called you out by name, buddy. Okay. All right. So, I think you said you didn't know where you fell on that list, right?
No, I have no clue. We didn't really check.
Okay.
Yeah. I
All
don't think
right.
we were very high because we didn't do the one challenge and
Okay.
so
Well, and that I mean that doesn't necessarily matter in the grand scope of things. There were a couple of other folks that got disqualified for various reasons and stuff like that. So, and I think that was kind of the purpose of kind of having that scoring system. I think my feedback to that would be like it'd be really cool to see other reasons and ways for folks to score throughout there without including time, right? Like because that's one of the things is
yeah.
time from camp to camp
That's what I kinda said
wasn't part of your calculation.
when I talked to Brandy and Rich about stuff in between along the trails and stuff like that, you know, having stuff people the time to stop and making maybe points for, you know, stopping at a certain a point of interest along the way and taking pictures and stuff like that. Just I think it gets people out there and enjoys it that much more. You know, that's what overlanding all about is it's not about, you
Yeah.
know, like Baja racing from one point to the other point, even though that was a lot of fun, you know, peering across the desert, 60, 70, 80
It's
miles
real
an
fun till you
hour
got to
and
repack gears and bearings, buddy. Yeah.
well, there wasn't that time we did that. That was coming down off the big pass, out of between Cedar City and Zion. That was where they
Okay. This guy want to split hairs about this now. Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's right. Right. You climb that high road, Joe. Oh, that's right. You can't. You got stuck halfway up.
Oh.
Oh, I'm just kidding. Ah, that's
It's all about
awesome.
the experience. It's part of the story now. and all the
Yeah,
and then,
right?
all the ribbing I got for the rest of the trip, you know?
Don't feel bad. Don't feel
All in
bad.
good fun. Oh, I don't, it was
Joe,
all in good fun, I loved it. If I can be the butt of somebody's joke.
yeah, the mapping guy got lost. The mapping guy the mapping guy got lost. He yeah, I just got to get lost, and I feel like and I got stuck. And I got stuck. That's the other thing. I'm the only guy who got stuck in Sand Hollow. So, yeah, we're good. We're good, buddy. You're not the only. Enjoy your place in that. So you guys completed all the competitions other than obviously the one that you set out.
Yeah.
You guys weren't you were able to compete in all of them, right? Like none of the breakdowns actually made you unable to
No.
do anything.
No, no, no,
Okay,
no,
good
no.
deal. Okay, all right. And overall, then with every all of those things then combined, right? Like the adventure piece and the the competition piece and the camp piece and the turkey sandwiches instead of hot meals every night. Would you do all this again? Would if you were able to come back as a competitor? Would you come back as a competitor?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Just for the experience, I mean, that's what it's all about. Life is all about the experiences and the adventure. I don't want you never wanna look back when you're old and sitting on your rocking chair and going, "I wish I would have," you know? About getting out there and getting off your butt.
You know what? That's a 100%. I think that's a big thing. I think, and as you say that too, and as I asked that question, I realized one of the things I haven't asked folks before is like, man, I wonder if I could, like, you can always come back as chase team, and there's a whole litany of other tasks that, like, it's a village, folks. It takes a village to put these kinds of things together.
Absolutely.
And whether it's chase teams or if you're coming by to help, repack gears on the trail, whatever it is, right? What I just realized, like, wow, would it have been great to have like just a group of not random, but at least semi handpicked, if you will, like a traveling audience that was just kind of there for the experience of going from camp to camp. Then because that'd be more than just all of us standing around laughing at you guys while you did those camp games.
Well, I think the crew and everybody that helped out probably did a pretty good job of that. There was enough people sit there and watch us make fools of ourselves and, screw up
It
and
was
trip over
fun.
stuff,
I'm
and
not gonna lie, Joe.
I
It
don't know.
was a lot of fun. It was good. It's gonna live rent free in my head for the rest of my life.
Yeah. And it was cool that everybody just got to it wasn't like you would figure a lot of reality shows are probably like that the crew kinda stays, away from everybody. Everybody socialized. When it was done at the night and we were hanging around the campfire, everybody was there. Everybody hanging out with, Glenn and his wife. I've always been a huge fan of Glenn, and when I found out he was gonna be one of our hosts, I was so excited. I was so happy. I'm like, "I can't wait to this guy." He is like one of my idols because he's one of those on the edge, balls to the wall, kinda guys and doesn't, not afraid of anything, and just to meet him and just, I as soon as we got to the pre-show. I met him immediately because me and him were both getting our tracking system set up at the same time, and he just came up and he saw the beast and he was like beelined right for me, and it was like we'd been friends for years. Come up, shook my hand, and we hit it off immediately. And I'm like, this guy is fucking awesome. I can't, believe
Yeah.
this. I get to go hang out with this guy.
Yeah, like he is so like he's one of the surprises, and I say that like kind of in air quotes. Like you see Glenn on TV before, and he's been on Truck Night and stuff like that, but the surprising part was, yeah, his just kind of accessibility, right? Like he is very much just out there having a great day every day, like, and he's not like he's not from Colorado, if you know what I'm saying. Like he's just there. He's a happy guy all the time. Um, I will say this, Joe, is I had a conversation with him because he's the kind of guy like he's just walking around camp, and I'm just like at one point I'm like I'm leaning up against my trailer and I'm tired. It's been a long day. And he's just walking around and I'm just like, dude, how are you still standing? Like you've been doing all this stuff. Like you've been hustling all like as much as the rest of us. And like, I don't know how Glenn is, but I know he's at least 10 years older than I am. And I'm just like, dude, how are you just kind of like good? And I will tell you this, Joe, the man has joints, literal physical, like bone joints that are twice as large as the rest of ours. like just twice as large. That's why he's been able to. He can ski 200 days out of the year and never break anything because he just has the joints of a giant built into the body of a 5'5" dude. Um, literally, Joe, his joints were twice the size of mine, and he is a foot shorter than I am. So, and I'm 6'6". So it's just kind of like, all right, well, you're cheating then. But he is an awesome guy. He was really great to talk with. It was really just kind of great to get to know him and Kimberly, and kind of, just kind of hang out with them. And I got myself a pair of Pit Vipers. I feel very Hollywood now. I feel ridiculous sometimes, but I do like them. That's the part that sucks. I kind of like, they're really great actually in terms of functionality. They just look ridiculous.
Yeah, I felt you felt kind of out of place not having a pair. I was like, what the?
At one point, Kimberly was looking at me, and I think I had not grabbed my sunglasses from the Jeep. And she's just like, "Did you get a pair of sunglasses?" Or she just looked at my cheap Temu sunglasses and was like, "Good Lord, this guy needs some help." And like, she got me a really nice pair. Like, they're really great. Like, they're like transition lenses a little bit, and they got the chroma thing, and they just look a bit ridiculous. But then again, I keep getting told that they look fantastic. So I don't know. I'm just not a kid anymore, so I'm not a fashion person. Hopefully I'm not laughed at too much when I wear them around town.
They just need to know the backstory about them.
What about the Pit Vipers?
Yeah, it's where they came from, why you have them. Then it makes them cool.
There is that, but the problem is like walking down the street, I can't just be like, "So yeah, dude, I once did media for a reality show." Like, nobody cares. Like, then I'm just the guy who's just like, "Yeah, you know that guy?" So he walked by me. He's like, "Yeah, he did a reality show one time." I'm like, no, I don't need that. I'll just wear them. And then I'll get a pair that actually fit my style a little better. But Pit Viper, I'm looking at you. If you want to send me a pair, I'm not going to say no to it.
There you go.
All right. So what's next for you, buddy? Like, did you say you have the Suburban back or not?
Just got it done at the shop today. It's pretty much been there since about a week after we got back. I took it up and just been dropped off looking for this VSS housing. So it literally just got done this afternoon. So we'll pick it up in the morning and kind of go from there, get it all prepped and get back out on the trail and start making some more content.
Okay. Real quick, that thing has air conditioning that works, right?
No. It has air conditioning,
Oh,
but it's old and it runs off of the air actuators. So I got air, but not really well, and it's black, so it extracts every bit of heat.
yeah, dude, that is a choice in Utah. Is a rattle can black, right? Like, it's not even glossy, so you're not reflecting any of the light. You're getting all of it. You're soaking all of it up.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. I'm gonna give you crap for that decision, sir. I would definitely go, knowing what I know about you now. I would definitely go, like, if next time I see that Suburban it's all white, I wouldn't blame you. I wouldn't blame you at all. I think it'd be a better call. It's gonna beam at everybody, but it'll be all right.
Yeah, well, black is kind of its thing. It's become everybody says it's either looks like it's something out of, a zombie apocalypse movie or something like that, or, a SWAT team vehicle, or, it's big and scary, and, scares little kids and old ladies, but the kids love it. I do a lot of car shows around here locally and stuff. Like, kids love it. They'll run up and they think it's a monster truck. Immediately ask their parents, "You want them? You mind if they sit up inside?" And they get up there and they're acting like they're driving a monster truck, and I absolutely love it.
Nice. That's awesome, man. Like,
Yeah.
we had something like that. Yeah. Yeah. Anytime you get a big build like that, like, I think kids just love it. They don't care if it's a rattle can. Like, and that's the great part about kids, right? They don't care if it's a rattle can. They're just like, that's just a beast. Yeah. They can appreciate it for being a big monster truck.
Yeah.
Because essentially we're getting closer and closer to all driving monster trucks, Joe.
Hey, I don't care. Hey.
Yeah, you don't, but I can't afford that.
I'm already there. I'm ahead of the curve.
I would call it ahead of, sir. You may have the last working Suburban 91 Suburban transfer case in the country.
Well,
so
we'll see.
All right.
Well, just nobody wants to give them up.
Look, then that still means you have the last working one that you can obtain. I'll give you that one.
I did get offers from, a couple of local friends that are pretty big names in off-road, and they're like, "Hey, I'll give you a 2 we'll do a doubler setup and all this," and I'm like started racking the numbers, and I'm like, $50 for a housing or $5,000 to put in a doubler set. I think I'll go with the other one for now." If I, had the 5 grand, I'd do it in a heartbeat, but I'm just a poor content creator.
I think we're Joe, we're all poor content
I know.
creators. Oh my good lord. All right, cool. Okay, that's all I had for you, man. But I did want to follow up on something that we talked about earlier. If you could take all of all right. Huh. And I'm gonna give this one to you because I don't think you'd do it. I think you'd be smart and you'd rent something if you were to do this. But if money was no object and you could airlift the Suburban anywhere that you wanted to off-road with it and then go have the kind of that dream trip, what would that bucket list trip look like?
Oh gosh, I mean, there's so many options. The top of my bucket list right now, and it's probably it's an obtainable one. I want to go do Baja. I've had so many friends that go down there
Oh,
and just do it, and have a lot of connection. Just it's I don't know. The culture. Love me some, street tacos, have to try everything, sleeping on, camping on the beach and just that. That's my top of my bucket list, but I'm up for just about anything. I'd go do if I could do Australia maybe, or, do the whole, Pan America Highway from the top to the bottom, it's all about the adventure.
okay. All right. I'm gonna tell you what I told somebody else. Brought up the Pan American Highway on another episode, and we talked to Dan Greck. And Dan Greck is from the road shows me, and he's a really nice guy from Australia. Moved to Colorado, spent some not moved to, but just kind of spent some time in Colorado, and then got the
Mhm.
off-roading bug. Bought a Jeep and just drove that thing the Pan American Highway, and then sold it in South America and came home. And it's like his first book, so it's a great. It's one of those things where like if you wanted to do something like that, he's a great reference because he did it with nothing, and now he's doing kind of like these big adventures where he's going overseas and he's taking his whole rig over there that's kind of built up like this Deer Smarts, fridge bus, right? Um, so it's yeah, definitely check him out, man. I think and that like again, those fall into the obtainable categories of things to do. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. All right, only need mild like passport use. And no serious threat of detention. Maybe some, but not all. Just watch the border patrol. But you've had experience there, see? And we're
Yeah.
back full circle.
Well, that's what probably everybody says, going to Baja is like your vehicle looks too militant. So I don't know if people could take that the wrong way, or maybe too cartel-ish, as they put it.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: is in this day and age, you never know who's out of the trail. So yeah, I could see how that might be. Look, but yeah, all I'm saying is put maybe something else identifying on your vehicle. I'm thinking maybe the logo for yourself. Just put your logo on the hood. That way, it's still black, right? But your logo's up there.
Bright and colorful and
Inviting, Joe, is what I'm
inviting. Oh,
saying.
okay.
Not like a military vehicle. Yes,
Yeah, there you
exactly.
go.
Not a little less like a SWAT vehicle. Yeah, you could still keep all the lights. Just a logo, maybe a logo in the window. A
There
logo
you
in the window.
go.
There you go. I'm
Yeah.
trying to help you, buddy. Sure. I don't want you to get shot.
No, I don't want to either.
All right. All right. What else and this is my last question for you, and then we'll get the heck out of here. If kind of by the time that this airs, season 2 casting will kind of be in effect because Rich has said season 2 is happening. So
Yep.
do you have any advice for anybody who's looking to come on for season 2?
Don't don't go in with a certain mindset, because people think,
Okay.
well, by then people will see, what we went through and want to
Yeah.
do it. But, like we went into this completely blind and didn't know what to expect. So, and I think knowing Rich as well as I do, I think you'll have some curveballs, change some things up. So don't expect it to be easy, because we went through some pretty gnarly section, especially the last day between uh Sand Hollow and Mesquite was, got pretty hairy. And the last where we went up the road and it says so something like an unmaintained road or something, and I went, that's an understatement. that was
That's
that was gnarly.
amazing. I like when they put those at the end of it where it's like it's still a road, but it's unmaintained, and
Mhm.
you don't necessarily know. Like it could be dirt, it could be maybe a little bit of rutting, or it could be like a serious rock crawl situation. You're
Oh,
on lime kiln. Yeah. I think the message here is don't underestimate it, right? Like as
yeah,
whether or not it's the day to day and the camp to camp or what Rich has in store for you. Because I guarantee you, everything that Rich dreamt up for this first adventure is only going to be multiplied the next time. Because
yeah,
I know him. Like he doesn't know anything but to turn it up.
yeah. Well, and the other thing would be,
So
just soak it in, enjoy every minute of it, get to know the people you're on the other teams, and just soak every bit of it in. Because you're not going to probably get another chance like this ever again. We were the first episode. I don't say that makes us, special in any way, but soak it in. Just enjoy every bit of it, the scenery, the people, all bit of it. You'll probably never get another chance to do anything like this ever again in your life.
exactly, yeah. Like for all the stuff that you guys had to put up with in terms of production and kind of watching us idiots run around and trying to do whatever we had to do with our cameras and stuff like that. That's my advice to you. If you're a competitor, if you're if you're tagging along for the adventure, if whatever it is, right, and you're not part of the production, you're not part of the crew or anything like that, just every moment that you have an opportunity to take in what's going on around you, just take it all in. Just take it all in. Like it was such a cool thing to witness, both from an off-roading perspective and a community perspective. And then yeah, it was really cool to watch a production of a television show. Like I've never even seen it attempted before, let alone, done. Like because I would have called it attempted at the beginning of the show, at the beginning of this of the adventure. I would call it just a production at the end of the show. We got it. We got there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, sir.
All right. All right. Well, you got anything else for me, man, before we get out of here?
No, thanks for the opportunity to come on here and tell my story. And, you
Yeah.
know, it was great hanging out with you on the trail and hanging out here.
It's always, man, like, and I will extend this to you, and I do this publicly so that people, like they can't come back to me later and say, well, or I can't go back to people later and say, well, I never said you publicly you do that. But I tell people publicly, like if now that you've been on the show, I welcome back everybody. I just sent out an email yesterday and actually kind of surprised myself by the amount of people that were and how quickly they responded to join for our live shows. You're always welcome for one of those. And we just sit around, usually we just sit around and drink and we talk about, what everybody's got broken, or in your case, getting back from the shop tomorrow. Um, and maybe we'll try to throw in some news here and there when we want to make fun of Jeep or somebody that's in the news doing something stupid. So yeah, you're welcome anytime, man.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks, sir. I can't wait for the opportunity.
Anytime, buddy. It was really great meeting you and Bill. It was really great seeing you guys on the trail for Larger in Life. It was just like I said, this was a really unique experience, and as much as the kind of the shows have made it cliche over the years, you shared this experience with a group of people. In this instance, it was a relatively small group of people. Like I get the distinct feeling that it won't be this small ever again, and I think that's something to hold on to. And when we have a reunion show later this year, I hope that you guys will join us for it.
Absolutely. I'll be there.
Awesome. Good deal, buddy. All right. Well, if you want to know more about Larger Than Life Adventures, you can check them out at Larger Than Life Adventures on Instagram, and of course at Larger Than Life Adventures on YouTube. I will link to both of those in the show notes for today. And yeah, buddy, you got anything else to plug? Did I miss anything? Or I got all the major social stuff?
Just been trying to, yeah, nice social media stuff. We're trying to grow the channel and get more people, and that's what it's all about. Got to get out there and start creating some more content, though.
Yeah, dude. Like I said before, my advice to you, just keep throwing it out there. Just keep doing your stuff, and then keep making whatever feels like you. And the people come to you, man. They'll come to you. Good deal.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, and to those people that have come to us, thank you so much. And thank you so much for riding along with us on this episode and letting us be a part of your off road adventures. Safe travels on and off road. As always, stay the trail. We'll see you next time at the trailhead. Bye, everybody.